Good evening everybody, and welcome to race number 21 of 22 in this season. We are almost there. I cannot believe that we are literally almost completed the first season of our Road to Glory with Williams. Last race in Mexico was a bit all over the place. I'm not going to lie. If you haven't seen it yet, go back and watch it. The simple fact of the matter is there were 2 red flags. So this is the first time in any of our races we've actually had a red flag, which was great because I didn't even know if it would even happen. First one happened really early on, so we decided to stick with our strategy, just go to a new set of mediums, and then of course change to our hards later on. All of the AI changed to hards. I thought it was too much of a push and a stretch to be able to get all the way to the end. I didn't think we'd be able to do it, but they did, and unfortunately that meant we dropped right towards the back. We had a red flag right at the end of the race when there was about 2 laps to go, thinking, aha, we're gonna have maybe 1, maybe 2 laps, good running, we can all go into hards, neutralize the field, let's go for it. And then the race ended. Didn't even restart. Didn't know who crashed, who caused it, because there was only 3 retirements prior to that red flag, and then you had literally no one else seemingly retired despite the fact that a red flag went out. So it was a very, very weird situation. But we're now in Brazil, one of my favorite tracks. I love this race, one because of the dynamic weather, because of obviously where it's located. You surprisingly in Brazil you get a lot of rain at this racetrack, and it's a very classic one as well. So I'm really excited to do this. Qualifying, literally not really anything has changed compared to all of the other ones, to be perfectly honest. We've ended up at the back of the grid again, or have we? Because once again you can see lots of grid penalties. Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly and Sebastian Vettel. So yes, although we finished at the back and we were about just over half a tenth, so about 0.6 of a second away from getting out into Q2 for the first time. We still have yet to do that, so we've got only one more opportunity to potentially do it. Realistically, it ain't happening. We know that it ain't happening this season, so we're going to do it for next season. But we are not starting at the back of the grid. So as you can see here, Jack Doohan 15th, Albon 14th. Now, excuse me, we need to set up our strategy. So it's basically, it's a 2-stop race. The soft compound tires really haven't lasted at all, so we're gonna go for the mediums and the hards. We're gonna do a split strategy. So Jack is gonna do medium, medium, hard, and then we're gonna get Albon to do the medium, hard, medium. That's what we're going to go with. Setup wise, not as good as last time out. Obviously last time out Jack got 100% setup confidence and Alex got a 96%. This one 78 and 87%. It was very, very difficult. We just couldn't quite do it. I think we're going to be able to make it through the rest of the season with only having had the 1 grid penalty, because we've been very smart in how we've done everything. We've used in practice over the last, probably 6 or so races. We've used all of our previous components that are really wearing out solely for practice, saving the extra ones that we took that we needed to get a grid penalty for, and using them for the actual race itself. So they are reasonably good. The gearbox is the only one that's quite low, but we should be able to get through to the end with no more needed. So, are you sitting comfortably? Have you got a nice drink? Have you got some popcorn? Because I tell you what, there's going to be some action. There's going to be some heartbreaks. I just know it, the way the last couple of races have gone. So, here we go for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in Brazil. Let's go.
It's a somewhat overcast day for the drivers, who've now taken position on the grid. Here we have Alexander Albon. They're in the back half of the pack, so they'll need to work hard if they want a podium finish. And looking at the second Williams car, they're starting in the bottom half of the grid today, so there's a lot of cars between them and the podium. The race start is mere seconds away. Who will win? Only time will tell, here at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And off we go. Oh, I just realised I forgot to change these. That is me being an idiot. So, we've only got one slower driver realistically behind us at the start of this grid. So Ocon, Gasly, Hamilton and Norris are faster than us. But we need to have a really good start. We just want to see if we can just have that enough of a good result to be able to sneak into the points. We've been so close on so many occasions. We should have got them. We realistically should have done. So there is Albon trying to make moves, and I think he has managed to get past. He has got up into P12 already. Albon up into P12, right behind Mick Schumacher now. Doing currently as he started. Albon in P12. Oh, and there's Stroll just trying to sneak up on the inside. Oof. So currently 39-14. Jack Doohan has managed to overtake Pierre Gasly. Not Pierre Gasly, sorry, Kevin Magnussen. My apologies there to any Danish Haas fans. So it's a 71 lap race. So we're going to be looking in the region of about lap 20 for both drivers for when they're going to be making their very first pit stops. And Vettel has managed to get past Kevin Magnussen as well. Both of them holding back Ocon, Gasly, Norris and Hamilton. So we're just going to leave things going until we get to the end of this next main straight, which is when we're just going to ease back a little bit off the tyres there. And someone's locked up. Someone's locked up in sector 1. Who was it? And someone's run wide as well. It was Lando Norris at the back of the grid.
Watch this. We're looking at Lando Norris. And
oof.
Yes, there. That's the lock.
So this middle sector is one of our hardest sections, one of the areas that we're not very strong on because we're not good on the slow speed corners. That's something we really are looking to work on really actively.
DRS is enabled.
Albon looking to make moves on Stroll. Got the inside line, but then Stroll's got it the next time round.
Let's reduce lifting close by 1 level.
Okay.
To drop back.
Yes.
So Vettel already 1.7 seconds back from Jack, so we've got a little bit of a buffer at the present moment in time, which is good because we've got all those faster drivers a lot further back. The longer we keep them behind, the harder it's going to be for them to be able to overtake us later into the race. The top of the grid, as your usual suspects, Verstappen, Perez, Sainz and Leclerc. I'll be really interested to see what happens next season, whether we see any major changes to the general order of things. Obviously, we're currently working on trying to get some good developments going in for next season, so we'll have to see how that goes. Albon just beginning to lose touch a little bit to Lance Stroll at the present moment in time. Lance Stroll's really come on leaps and bounds over this sort of second half of this season. Really surprised me. Kind of mimicking what he's doing in real life. Obviously today, at the time I'm speaking, it was the qualifying for the real life Dutch Grand Prix. Stroll managed to get into Q3, but unfortunately and luckily for him, due to a technical problem, they were unable to go out and actually do their next a run in qualifying 3, which feasibly I think they could have been possibly pushing for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. So it was a bit unlucky for them, but of course that is one of the things that does happen. So just gonna speed on just for a couple of laps, just to kind of let things settle in. You know, this is what we always like to do, because I'm not going to sit here and watch loads of things for ages. And now we're having our drivers just battling each other. There's Jack and Alex just fighting one another for 13th. They just lose a touch, yeah, about 3 seconds back from Lance Stroll at the moment, as we're in lap 7. So about 10% into this race at the moment. But we don't want too much squabbling. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to ask Alex just to hold the others back for a little bit. Do a nice bit of defending. Allow Jack just to try and pull away slightly. Little bit of team orders there.
Okay, max saving, max fuel saving. Yes.
And
Kevin Magnussen has managed to get past.
That's a new race position for Haas. Here's the replay. All eyes on Kevin Magnussen here. They take a...
Leave core increase, please.
Copy.
It's a race position gained for Mercedes. Let's see what happened there. Now watch this. Lewis Hamilton involved.
See, when you got the DRS wide open like that against the Mercedes in the Williams at this present moment, you've got no chance.
A bold move indeed, and with that, they've gained a position.
So I'm going to ask Albon just to start picking up the pace just a little bit, as the tyre wear has been relatively good. And unfortunately losing out to Gasly there. It's difficult when you're in a situation like this, because obviously, realistically, we're not in fights with a Mercedes, an AlphaTauri, and an Alpine, because we're not on their level yet. But unfortunately, those ones that we should be battling with are much higher up the grid as it currently stands. So we've definitely, this season, we've had a really average first couple of races where obviously we're just feeling our way through, getting a feel for the game, for the car, and feeling how everything works. We brought an update into Spain, which of course we had a really good result there. That's where we started thinking, maybe could we start pushing a little bit more now. Then of course you had the double header of the Monaco Grand Prix and Azerbaijan, and it was one of those where we didn't have the car to be able to compete. Unfortunately, we really didn't. So it's been tough. It's been really tough. But then we had an amazing kind of number of laps. Sorry, a number of races in the sort of the middle of the season, in the sort of European legs. Of course, we had our incredible result in Spa, which I seem to be mentioning in every video, but so far that has been literally the highlight of our season, finishing in P5, which admittedly, yes, we got lucky with a lot of safety cars and obviously retirements. Obviously 8 drivers retired in that race, but it's just been one of those that's just been so up and down. But that's the only time we've actually finished in the points. Next season, of course, if you missed the episode, which I believe was the one just after the French Grand Prix, that's obviously there's been numerous regulation changes coming in for the next year, but that was the one that's hit us hardest the most, because there's a change to the points scoring system for next season. So only the top 8 drivers, only the top 8 finishers in a race are going to earn points from next season, and they're going to be getting less points, so the gap would be in theory narrower. So it's a really difficult situation to be in, really tricky. So already down the grid, and to get higher up, to get in the points. Oh, Schumacher has spin. Let's take a look at this.
There's Schumacher. They lose it there. That's the spin.
Ooh. So Mick Schumacher will be just dropping down. He has actually dropped behind Albon now. There you can see just towards the back of the screen there, being challenged by Lando Norris. So at the moment now giving the team orders to Jack to allow Albon to get past, because Albon does seem to be the slightly faster driver at present. So just allowing him to start to gain a little bit of momentum now. So getting a little bit closer to the pit. We know we've got about 5 laps to go before we're in that point where we start thinking about the pit stop. And there goes Lando Norris on Jack. Always going to happen, unfortunately.
McLaren gain a position.
Register lift and co.
And we think you can reduce lift and coast.
Copy. Overtake is available if needed.
Copy.
And it looks like Lando Norris is gonna... Oh no, the Albon's just managed to retain the pace, but Norris is probably going to have the DRS down this main straight. So we might see him on our left hand side. No, Albon just manages to stay ahead on this occasion. So we've got a gap of about 5.5 seconds at the moment to Gasly ahead, which is yeah, it's a tricky one, this particular race. I ideally would have liked a traditional Brazilian Grand Prix where we get a bit of a mixture of wet and dry racing, because it really throws the hammer into work, so you don't quite know what's quite going to happen for that regard. Makes it a lot more exciting in my opinion. We always like a little bit of excitement. Yes, we do.
Just do lifting coasting.
And London Norris has managed to get a nice clean overtake there on this occasion. So that's Albon dropping back down into P16.
And McLaren with a great overtake.
Albon trying to retake the place, and he does manage to do so.
Nice work.
And a new position just gained by Williams.
So Ricciardo, Stroll and Mick Schumacher are all in the pits. So it'll be just interesting to see what tyres they come out onto. Ricciardo onto the hards. That's for Stroll and Schumacher. Hards. Oh!
We can take a look now. Watch this.
So I thought this was about the someone running wide. Who's run wide?
Look at that! They've run wide.
It was
Let's
Norris.
take a look at the replay. Now just take a look at the McLaren.
Oh, so he ran wide,
there we can see them slide
but
off.
didn't manage to gain advantage. So he's not going to be asked to give the place back there.
And the team had such high hopes today. What a shame.
Oh, an Albon spun. Oh, and a collision.
What happened there?
Oh my God. Right. To be fair, we were just coming up to the pit situation, so we're going to pit now. So we're not. Obviously we are going to have to change the front tyre, so it's less than ideal, and we've got a time penalty as well. So lots of cars coming into the pit, and I'll tell you what.
Sounds like there's been contact.
BSC.
Right, we are going to bring Jack in as well now. We might as well, while we've potentially got basically a free pit stop. So we're going to do... I'm going to do the hards. Oh! But it was just too late. Is the VSC going to stay in time? We might be lucky enough.
Bobby. So watch out, white line and pit limiter.
Luckily, because it's a VSC, we've not been sort of bunched up in the way that you normally would do.
Toes up and coming down. Yeah, roger. You can afford to drop back. Got it.
So Jack Dunn has actually managed to get out ahead of Esteban Ocon, which is really, really good for us there. So we're going to pause now, just so we can double check these strategies. So, yeah, we're not going to get to the end. So let's see, where can we get it roughly? Or do we maybe go softs? No, see that's the thing, the softs will be really pushing it. So we're going to go with the medium, because then we can still push quite hard. So that's going to be our strategy there. Now Alex, obviously we've gone a little bit early. So what do we need to do? So just extending that stint a little bit, so be about lap 52. There we go. I think that's about right now. So unfortunately, the spin on its own wouldn't have been too bad, but the yeah, the little collision, which I'm not sure if it was, I think it was Vettel. I think it must have been Vettel that was the one that collided with us. Because obviously he's back quite a bit. So we can't push incredibly hard on this stint.
Let's reduce lifting close. Copy.
Oh, someone else locked up in sector 1. Maybe a Mercedes. Just trying to see who was in sector 1.
Oh, big lock up there.
Oh, it's Vettel.
Closer look. Taking a look again, it involves Sebastian Vettel, and there's the lock up. It almost got away from
Oh,
him.
luckily didn't manage to actually collide with the barrier. So saved himself from some damage there.
They'll be questioning just what happened out there.
Tires are getting warm. Overheating already.
DRS enabled. So lift and coast level 3.
Yes.
So tyre wear deck looks about the same for all of the drivers. So I'm still expecting all of the others to still be doing their 2-stop. Of course, we do have to keep a real good eye on this. And unfortunately, Albon does have some minor damage to the chassis, which is going to compromise him. I didn't spot actually the chassis damage initially, so it is going to make things a little bit difficult now. He's not going to have as much speed, not going to have as much downforce, and you can see that where in theory he should have been catching quite close to Vettel, but if anything I think he seems to be dropping a little bit further back. Yeah, he's actually dropping back from Vettel. So that could literally be hit for Albon in this race. It literally could. And unfortunately, Jack just can't seem to make the inroads at the moment on Esteban Ocon. And someone else is locked up in sector 1 again. Who's it this time? It was Leclerc.
Watch
Leclerc
this.
right towards the
There's
front
the
of the
point.
grid. On his own.
The lockup. That's
Oof.
the last thing they'll-
Really ran deep there. Luckily, he was in
The
quite a
team
lot
are
of clean air, so
really
he
disappointed with
wasn't
that.
really affected
Let's hope
too
it doesn't
much.
set them back too badly.
Yeah, he's currently got Russell about 13 seconds behind him, but he's now about 7.5 seconds back from his compatriot, Carlos Sainz. The compatriot, they're not obviously both Spanish. His teammate, of course. Tyres are apparently overheated, so hard compound tyres clearly are not a good race tyre to actually be on. Someone else has spun. Who's on this occasion?
Did
Yellow
somebody
flag.
spin out there?
It's Magnussen.
All eyes on Kevin Magnussen here. That looked like a very nasty
Luckily
spin.
on this occasion no actual damage done. So Kevin Magnussen just drops down now below Tsunoda and Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly, who we are seriously considering hiring for next season. Very good talent. If we do though, who would we replace him over? Would we get rid of Jack Doohan or would we get rid of Alexander Albon? It's a really tricky one at this moment in time. Because they've both got pros and cons for each driver. Really difficult to know who to decide at this current moment in time. Albon nearly 8 seconds back from Vettel. Wow.
Okay, reduce lift and coast.
Yes.
We look at reducing the lift and coast.
Copy.
Unfortunately, this is just one of those very disappointing races where,
Yes, with an overtake
once again, we
there.
just can't do too much. We really want to, but we're lacking options to be able to do anything. And we're currently about half race distance as we currently stand, and we're literally at the back of the grid. Only Vettel separating our two drivers at the moment. And the cars are severely overheating, unfortunately. Well, I say severely, not severely, but they are overheating and making it really difficult for us. So there you go again, slightly overheating, getting a little bit warm.
Reduce the lift and coast.
Copy.
But it's not like they can't drive it in the clean air. They're literally in clean air. They're so separate from everybody else. It's really disappointing when you get a race like this where you want to do more but you just can't.
That sounds like someone's gone wide there. Let's take a look at the replay. We're just watching the Red Bull.
No real time lost there for Perez.
That's not ideal.
Star deal, no, Crofty. A yellow flag in sector 1 again. What is it on this occasion? Someone ran wide.
Someone's run wide.
It was Norris.
Take a look now. Watch this. We're looking at Lando Norris. Oh,
Again, pretty much the same one. Barely any time lost there at all. But it does allow Lance Stroll just to close up that little bit closer. And I'm sorry if anyone who's watching. I want to give you an exciting race, lots of battling, but just can't. And so it's locked up. Who is it?
Sounds like someone's locked
It was
up.
Bottas.
Let's take a closer look. Now let's watch this. The Alfa Romeo involved in this one. They've locked up, but that could have been much worse.
So similar to what Vettel did earlier, luckily managing to avoid any damage. So round by. See, all these other things for the other drivers. This is more exciting when watching any of our instances at the moment.
Check the DRS.
Copy.
And Ocon is in the pit. So Ocon did go onto the medium so the medium compound tyre, so was going to have to pit a little bit earlier, but unfortunately it's not anything that affects our race. I mean, Jack is a little bit closer to him, but of course he will have to do his stop, and we'll drop, 20-30 seconds back from him. So and already losing touch with him already. What can we do? So we're just getting ready for the pit stops now. You can see some of the upper drivers up the grid are beginning to make their stops. And the pit window is now active. Oh, and Jack's just run a little bit wide as well.
They've gone wide. Let's have a look. Now we see the Williams here.
See, this is the problem with some of these commentaries for video games, because of how inconsistent they have to be. Because obviously you have to literally record certain things for certain situations, and that was so awkward, that transition there. He ran wide. Let's take a look. It's really awkward there. So on board with Albon, he'll be looking to come into pit very, very soon. A safety car right around now would be absolutely ideal. Come on, somebody hard the grid. Please just crash out. Should get a message on this lap. Well, the message hasn't come in to tell us, but we know we're doing it anyway. So here we are, going to be switching over to the medium compound tyres.
We'll be boxing.
Okay, box.
And go push.
Now Albon again lapped by, I believe that's probably Alonso.
Yes.
And Vettel has already made his stop onto the medium compound tyres. And it's going to be a very big gap. Someone else has locked up. Anything that's going to affect us? In sector 1.
lockup.
It was Lewis
Here's the
Hamilton,
replay.
so
Now
not affecting
watch
us.
this. Lewis Hamilton involved in this one. And yes, that's the lockup.
One thing I have
Big blow to
thought
the team. Will they be able to
recently
recover? We'll see.
is the gravel traps. So, for any of you who watched the real life Formula 1 Grand Prix in Spa last weekend, obviously there was a spin out and it was, I think it was Bottas. Unfortunately, he just obviously got stuck in the gravel pit. In this game, thus far, I've not seen any situation where that actually happens. And I think that would be something that would be really good for them to put in. Because realistically, that is a very real possibility. Down to 2.3 second pit stop, so we're getting better and better at our pit stops. About to be overtaken or lapped, I believe that's by another Red Bull. So either Verstappen or Perez, which actually I think that will mean that we'll be lapped for a second time. So that must be Verstappen. And let me just think for Jack, if we were to change to a soft rather than no, I think we need to stay with the mediums. I think we've got to stay with the mediums, but we are going to bring him in. So Jack, I want you to send with everything you've got. How much? Where is he on the track? Let's say it starts. So can't really send with the EOS because we've got virtually nothing. But we will use it down on this main pit straight. Well, not the pit straight, but the main, obviously, second straight. But I believe Jack will probably come out behind Vettel, but should hopefully be able to re-overtake him. So even again for Albon, the tyres are getting warm. Even on the mediums. I'm surprised. No, but then again, he is pushing it a little bit hard. Oh, I just realised he's still pushing there. And about to come into the pit straight. There we go.
Copy.
Entering pit line.
Okay. The full white line entering that.
And that's everybody now having made all of their pit stops. Another good time pit stop there. So Jack has been able to get ahead of Vettel, which is really, really good. It was going to be a little bit touch and go. We need to try and beat out Vettel. That's all we've got to try and do. That's all we've got to play for. We're too far back from Mick Schumacher, so unless we were to get a safety car, yeah, it's just not happening, unfortunately. Yeah, another disappointing race that there's just not a lot we can do, you know. You really want to do more, but you can't change strategy to give yourself a boost. You've literally just got to push and push and push. That's Vettel just battling with, of course, with Jack doing there. And Vettel has managed to get him, but we're going to be able to switch the EOS back on so we can begin to use that one again.
Looks like Aston Martin have just gained a race position.
We want to leave court, please.
Copy.
Now you can see all those cars wanting to lap as we get down, having to move out of the way for the blue flags. And there's Hamilton. So I think that all of the points finishers are going to lap us. You know, every single person has been lapped from 11th downwards. And unfortunately for Albon, he's been lapped twice. So disappointed, but what can you do? Literally can't do anything, unfortunately. Jack is now 2 seconds off Vettel. Oh my god. Has he got any damage at all? No, he hasn't. So our best time's 1:13.1 and 1:13.6. And at the moment, our last laps was for Jack was 1:15 in comparison. Although was that the blue flags, that would have had an impact, I do believe. So I'm going to a bit of overtake, see if we can manage to get past Vettel on this occasion. Bit of DRS as well. Nicely done. Yeah, and a 1:14 there in comparison. Vettel was a 1:17, so yeah, it has to be the blue flags that unfortunately affected that previous lap, but so far off everything.
And there's an overtake from Williams.
Slightly faster lap there for Albon. So he's getting there, but of course, how'd you get off this? There we go. Yeah, obviously from that spin and that slight crash earlier on, of course he's got the chassis damage, so he's just not able to compete in this one. To be honest, is it worth retiring him? Can you even retire the drivers? Yeah, we could retire the car, to be honest. We could retire the car, which would mean we could save some of the stuff. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. For the first time ever, I'm actually going to retire the car. Because he's not getting back into this race.
Yeah, P0.
Okay, copy.
At least Joey obviously want to kind of beat out better, so that's literally all we've got to fight with.
We look at reducing the lift and core.
Copy.
Oh, and I think Vettel must have had a spin or a lock-up.
Looks like there's been a lock-up.
Yep.
Let's take a look at the replay.
Because I still need to drop
Taking a look
like
again.
seconds
It
back.
involves Sebastian Vettel. It's a lock-up, and that could be costly.
So another situation where luckily he was able to avoid damage, but that has basically ended his race now. So we're literally just going to skip on to the end of the race. If there's something important to see, I'll obviously stop, but...
We've just had a spin. Let's see what happened there. Now let's look at this. The focus on Sonoda.
Oh, did he clip the back of the car there?
The car's just gone.
Yeah, like I said, I don't like fast forwarding through and skipping loads of the race, but when there's literally nothing to go with, what's the point in prolonging the inevitable, you know? So on to the last lap. Both Jack and Vettel have now both been lapped twice. So I was hoping that this might have been a good one, but I think the slow corners really showcase our lack of pace. But hopefully we'll be able to get something in the next year. But we might as well go on board with Max Verstappen as he's about to cross the finish line, which I do believe he's going to win his second Drivers' Championship in this season. I'll confirm at the end of the race. Wow, was even Hamilton lapped? Wow, so literally only the top 6 were not lapped.
Verstappen over the finish line and today's winner.
And here comes Jack to cross his finish line as well. He'll be happy to go for an early shower now. Yes, we've not probably looked at the standings for a little while. Let's take a look. Yeah, Max Verstappen is 110 points ahead of Prez. So Max Verstappen absolutely has won his second Drivers' Championship. In terms of the constructors, and yes, Red Bull have won the constructors on this occasion. So nothing changing there. Nothing changing at the bottom of the grid, which is obviously what we're mostly focusing on. Jack has dropped a place as Ricciardo, by earning 4 points in that race, has managed to overtake him into 14th with 13 points overall for the season. Albon, 3 races now he is yet to finish. 2 has obviously crashed out, 1 which we retired because there's no point in keeping him going. There's literally no point at all. So lost out on 27,000 because we thought we were going to guarantee finishing 15th, but unfortunately not on this occasion. But that's still 3.7 million into the budget, which I believe we're now over 20 million. And good thing we just manufactured a new chassis because we blooming needed it after that race. So we've literally got nothing coming up in the next week. Okay, so let's take a look at the circuit. So we have got some fast and medium sections, which we are not too bad on. It's the slow ones that we really struggle with, but we've got more faster ones. So that should definitely help us a little bit. High expectations for either a safety car or a virtual safety car. And we either have got a one-stop or a two-stop strategy available to us in this race. So last season, Williams DNF'd both of their drivers last season. Let's hope we don't get a situation like that again. Oh, was that the infamous one? Yeah, that might be the infamous one. I can't remember if it was at Abu Dhabi that the final race was last season where Max Verstappen controversially won. But that is going to do that for this episode today. And just under an hour this episode. It was a difficult race. Again, not much that we could really do in this situation. So we're going to leave it there. And tomorrow we are obviously going to do the last race of the season. We'll do a season sort of overall review, and then we'll have an episode where we basically move in and looking forward to the next season. We see what kind of happens in the off season and how all of that works. So I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Of course, in the afternoon we'll have the real life Dutch Grand Prix, which I am really looking forward to. Hopefully that'll be a nice exciting race there as well. But for now, thank you very much for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening. Take care. Bye bye.